Breaking the silence. Former Scientologists speak out. The Church of Scientology has long been shrouded in secrecy. Its practices and beliefs are often misunderstood by the public. In recent years, however, a growing number of former Scientologists have come forward to share their stories. These individuals, once devout believers, are now risking their reputations and safety to expose the truth about the organization. Their accounts paint a disturbing picture of an institution that exerts immense control over its members' lives. These stories are not just personal accounts. They are powerful testimonies that shed light on the inner workings of a controversial organization. By breaking their silence, these former Scientologists are challenging the Church's narrative and empowering others to come forward. Their courage is commendable. Their stories deserve to be heard. These individuals are speaking out despite the potential consequences. They are determined to expose the truth. It is time to listen. The price of truth, repercussions and retaliation. Speaking out against Scientology is not without its risks. Former members often face retaliation from the Church. This includes harassment, intimidation, and legal action. The Church uses aggressive tactics to silence critics. It will stop at nothing to protect its image. Character assassination is common. The Church spreads lies to discredit former members. They use private information against them. This damages reputations and relationships. The Church pressures employers and business associates. They aim to isolate and financially ruin critics. Despite risks, former Scientologists continue to come forward. They are determined to expose the truth. Their bravery is an inspiration to us all. We must stand with them and demand accountability from the Church of Scientology.
John's journey from believer to outspoken critic. I was a successful businessman and a dedicated Scientologist for over 2 decades. I believed in the Church's teachings and credited them with my personal and professional success. I rose through the ranks of Scientology, donating significant sums of money and holding positions of authority. I was a staunch defender of the Church and its practices, often dismissing criticisms as lies spread by disgruntled ex-members. However, my faith began to waver when I witnessed the Church's harsh treatment of those who dared to question its teachings. I saw close friends and colleagues declared suppressive persons and cut off from their loved ones. The Church's intolerance and its willingness to destroy lives in the name of its beliefs shook me to my core. My doubts grew stronger when I learned about the allegations of abuse and exploitation within the Church. I could no longer ignore the stories of former members who claimed to have suffered physical, emotional, and financial harm at the hands of the organization. I made the difficult decision to leave Scientology. I knew that speaking out against the Church would have serious consequences.
Section 5. Scars that remain. The lasting impact of Scientology. The experiences of former Scientologists like Sarah and John highlight the profound and lasting impact that the Church can have on its members' lives. Many former members struggle with a range of emotional and psychological issues after leaving the organization. These can include post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, depression, and difficulty trusting others. The Church's emphasis on thought control and its culture of fear can leave individuals feeling emotionally stunted and unable to think critically. Former members often describe feeling like they were brainwashed during their time in Scientology. They struggle to reconcile their past beliefs with their current understanding of the world. The process of leaving Scientology can be incredibly isolating. Former members are often cut off from their friends and family who remain in the church. This isolation can exacerbate the emotional and psychological difficulties they are already facing. The scars of Scientology run deep. It takes immense courage and resilience to overcome the trauma of leaving this organization. It is essential that former members have access to support and resources as they rebuild their lives. Section 6. A pattern of abuse, exploitation, and control. The stories of former Scientologists reveal a disturbing pattern of abuse and exploitation within the church. One of the most egregious examples is the church's practice of disconnection. Disconnection forbids Scientologists from contacting former members declared suppressive persons. This policy tears families and friendships apart. Another form of abuse is the relentless pressure to donate large sums of money. This financial exploitation can leave individuals and families struggling. The church silences critics and intimidates those who speak out. Section 7. Disconnection, severing family ties. The Church of Scientology's policy of disconnection is one of its most cruel practices. Scientologists must sever ties with any family member or friend critical of the church. The church claims suppressive persons hinder spiritual progress. In reality, disconnection is a tool of control. It silences dissent and isolates members. The threat of disconnection creates fear. Imagine choosing between family and faith. The emotional toll is devastating. Disconnection violates fundamental human rights. Section 8. Finding strength in numbers. The power of shared experiences. In recent years, there has been a growing movement of former Scientologists who are speaking out against the abuses they endured. Through online forums, support groups, and documentaries, these individuals are finding strength in numbers and raising awareness about the true nature of Scientology. Sharing their stories is an act of healing and empowerment. It allows former members to reclaim their narratives and connect with others who understand their experiences. These platforms provide a safe space for former Scientologists to process their trauma and support one another. They offer a sense of community and belonging that many lost when they left the church. The power of shared experiences cannot be overstated. Knowing that they are not alone in their struggles can make a world of difference for former Scientologists. By coming together and sharing their stories, these individuals are challenging the secrecy and control that have defined Scientology for so long. They are creating a ripple effect that is empowering others to come forward and demand accountability. Section 9. Holding Scientology accountable, the fight for justice. The stories of former Scientologists demand our attention. We cannot ignore the allegations of abuse, exploitation, and human rights violations. It is time to hold the Church of Scientology accountable for its actions. There have been numerous calls for investigations into the church's practices. Governments and law enforcement agencies must take these allegations seriously. The voices of former Scientologists are getting louder. They will not be silenced. The fight for justice is far from over. We must stand with those who have been harmed and demand that the church be held responsible for its actions. Justice demands that the truth be revealed and that those responsible for the abuses within Scientology are held accountable. Section 10. The resilience of the human spirit overcoming trauma. The stories of former Scientologists are a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the trauma and abuse they have endured, these individuals are rebuilding their lives and finding hope for the future. Leaving Scientology is a long and difficult process. It requires immense courage and strength. Many former members face significant challenges as they navigate the world outside the church. They must confront the psychological and emotional scars of their experiences. They often have to rebuild their support systems from scratch. Yet, time and time again, former Scientologists demonstrate their resilience. They find the strength to heal, to grow, and to move forward. Their stories are an inspiration to us all. Section 11. A call for awareness, protecting future generations. The stories of former Scientologists serve as a stark warning. We must be aware of the dangers of organizations that operate in secrecy and demand unquestioning obedience from their members. Scientology is not the only group that engages in these harmful practices. We must be vigilant in protecting ourselves and our loved ones from exploitation and abuse. Education is key. We must teach our children about critical thinking, healthy boundaries, and the importance of questioning authority. We must also create a society where individuals feel safe to speak out against injustice and abuse without fear of retaliation. By raising awareness about the dangers of cults and abusive organizations, we can help to prevent future generations from experiencing the same harm that countless former Scientologists have endured. The fight for justice and accountability is ongoing. We must continue to listen to the stories of former Scientologists and support their efforts to expose the truth. Only then can we hope to create a world where everyone is free to live their lives with dignity and autonomy.